This whole video, I'm just saying that breaking prod is okay. It's not okay, but it happens. I feel like modern communication is just memes, and programming is not an exception to that. Every time I find a programming meme, I usually share it with my friends or colleagues, and sometimes it creates the whole discussion about whether it's funny or not, whether it's true or not, or it's just very, very sad and a part of our reality. Today I wanted to try something new and look at these memes with you guys to see if maybe that sparks a discussion. Let's start with the first one. Happy innocent junior developer thinking he will only code. Meetings, documentation, legacy code, testing. It is an interesting contrast when you see questions from junior developers. They're always about code, which is normal because you need to have a very good grasp on it before you dive into this. But when you see questions from people who use experience, they're mostly confused with their colleagues, their policies, their tooling, their system, their organization, their processes, all the non-coding stuff. So what are you doing in hell? Me, I replaced every error message with something went wrong. Oh my. Okay, we need to talk about error handling. I think I'm going to make a separate video about error handling, so subscribe to the channel so you're not going to miss it. Error handling is the root of all of the problems. If you have clear error codes, error messages, stack traces, logging, solving your problem is a matter of, oh no, I did something wrong, here's the fix, most of the time. When you have a vague error message from your user, you have nothing in your logs. You have no way to trace which log messages, if there are any, correspond to the things that happen to your user. You have no traces. It's impossible to tell what happened. You're completely blind unless somebody else complains about it. You don't even know if it's a recurring problem or what was a one-off glitch. So error messages, logging, traces, and hopefully metrics. Things I'd rather do instead of hopping in a quick call. I understand that although I personally prefer quick calls, it feels like an informal conversation between people, but the scheduled formal meetings with agenda that could have been an email, that's sad. PM sneaking tech dev improvements into the sprint to get engineers excited. I mean, I do get excited about tech dev. No, scratch that. I do get excited about fixing tech dev because it feels good, you know, it feels fresh, it feels clean. I like it. I still never know what PM stands for. It can be a product manager, a project manager, or some completely other abbreviation that the company is using. It's confusing. Do 100 tasks perfectly, they'll forget. Break prod once, they'll never forget. I have to say, I don't agree. I've broken production a few times in my life. It kind of comes with the territory. The only good thing that you can do is always have contingencies and always have a way to fix things quickly, to know your tools, to know your environment, to know how to quickly roll out a fix, how to revert your changes, whatever is needed. If you're just starting out your career in IT, you'll probably break production and it's gonna feel like the end of the world, like you're the worst developer ever, and then it'll pass. You'll get used to it. It's okay. Unless you drop the entire client database. That's not okay. Two backend developers are writing front end.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
Okay.
It's coming. That's
Okay,
great.
I know where
Nice.
this is
You're gonna
going.
like this, sir. Yeah?
I've seen my front ends. They are...
Oh, look at this.
Let me see it.
Look at this. Look at this angle over here. Every angle. Here you
Yeah.
I can't see it. It's yours.
This is exactly how they look. I can create a functional front end. Don't ask me to create anything nice.
I think I like it.
When the senior dev quits and suddenly you're the senior dev. I was exactly in this situation. You can check out my video about senior developers. It feels exciting, but it's a lot of responsibility. And if you're lucky and it happened early in your career, you don't understand the responsibility yet, and then you can really enjoy it. Yeah, later on, it hits differently. Developers are pushing a new feature to production. Yeah, this is what I meant about breaking production. It's not a new thing at some point, but also try to avoid it. Write the test your code before putting it to production. Hopefully in the testing environment. Roll out gradually and have a kill switch. Unless you're doing a database migration, then you're just gonna pray. Never be afraid to make a mistake unless you're doing prod migration. Then be afraid, be very, very afraid. I think the times when I'm really scared at my job is when I get a call very, very late at night, because it's never good. and when we have to do database migration, or actually any kind of migration, but database migrations are the scariest because it's everything your customers created, it's everything they care about, it's your security, it's your bread and butter, and doing a migration kind of threatens that, and you want to be really, really, really vigilant about it. How can you be so tired just from typing on a keyboard? Me dealing with 7 meetings, code reviews, bugs, and pile of new tickets. I keep saying that typing the code, writing the code, and even thinking about the code is the smallest and the most enjoyable part of the profession. The complicated part is coordinating with other people, trying to convince them that this is how you do stuff, trying to convince yourself that this is how you do stuff, trying to roll out some of the tooling that helps the whole company, and then dealing with the tooling that other people rolled out. And because they convinced you that it's going to be the best way to do things, but it's not, and everything is scrambling. Yeah, coding is fun. Coding is fun. Me and my boys, after resolving a critical bug report, was cannot reproduce. I've actually been on both sides of this equation because I started my career in quality automation and then I switched to software engineering pretty early on. I know how annoying it is when a developer returns a bug because they cannot reproduce it. Maybe they even didn't try hard enough. I also know how annoying it is when you actually don't see a bug because everything works as expected, but the tester just keeps returning the bug. I think this is the case where communication is key and you really have to talk to the person, not a Jira ticket. My favorite backend is Google Sheets. It just checks all the boxes for me. 100% free forever, takes less than 5 minutes to set up. Non-technical people already know how to use it. And when I want to migrate away, I just export all the data into the new. Quite convincing. Integrating with the spreadsheet is hell. Just because it provides so many features for you on the UI, it means that the API is going to be either limiting or complex, or in 100% of the cases, both. Looking at server logs to identify crash, be like, oh yeah, this is true. This is true because a lot of server logs are very, very, very long. Even if we only log warnings and errors, if you have tens of thousands users per second, there's going to be a lot of logs. Sometimes you're looking through the logs and everything seems normal, everything is familiar, and then you see a huge stack trace of errors and everything went wrong and nodes dying. Our company's workflow. It may look funny, but it's also very, 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 very common. There are a lot of processes in the company and not all of them can be automated, either because of the tools that they're using or because they just require user input at some point. But do you want to automate everything? Because if you do thousands of steps every day, it gets very boring very quickly. POV, prods and fire, and you still gotta explain it to the new intern. I actually think that the high stakes situations are very good to teach new developers because first of all, they understand the consequences of some actions that were taken before. So it's not just abstract coding for them anymore. It's real. There was a code, there was a mistake, there was an error, company lost money. How do we solve it? Quick enough and secure enough. It does require a person solving the problem to be experienced enough to not be too stressed out about it and still have this mental capacity to teach the intern and make sure that this intern or junior or just developer who's never been in this situation, that they understand that this is a normal business situation. However critical and horrible it can be, it's the cost of doing business, it's the cost of programming, and we just have to learn how to deal with it. This whole video, I'm just saying that breaking prod is okay. It's not okay, but it happens. Engineers, we can handle the UI ourselves, the UI. Tell me you're a backend engineer without telling me you're a backend engineer. By the way, this whole separation into backend and front-end engineer, it's not exactly real. It's mostly specializing in some area if you're not a full stack developer. And even if you are, I think you do have a preference. You all have a preference, and I know that. But if you're not, you are specializing in some area, and with time, you just get a very stereotypical thinking for that area. It can be helped if you do venture into the other side periodically, and I highly recommend doing that. Because however much I do make fun of UI, if I have to work on it, I will work on it, and it's not a problem. But it is funny. Waterfall, agile, AI. I made a video about trying to work with AI. I tried wipe coding, so I didn't write any code. I just let AI do all of the coding, and it was horrible. I asked to remove the mocks from the application, and it removed half of the functionality. This is me every morning moving my tasks to in progress in Jira. I keep trying to only have a couple of tasks in progress, but it never works. You work in some task, you move it in progress, you were waiting for the response from somebody else, you're waiting for the approvals, you're just waiting, and you kind of pick up another task because otherwise it's boring, and then the waiting train is just getting bigger and bigger. Your time, meetings, documentation, legacy code gets none. So true. Actual code. I think this is the truest representation of life. Except legacy code gets the actual coding bit. Working with legacy code is actually not that bad. Working with legacy code without any tests, that is scary. Because when you see something and you can improve it, it's a good feeling. It's a good thing to do. But if you don't know if you're gonna break everything with your improvement, then you probably don't want to touch it, and then it becomes unsettling. Add CSS. This whole video is just bashing backend engineers. Maybe I feel attacked because I should be. Cursor, please fix this small bug. Oh no, oh no, oh no, I know it's gonna, no, don't do that, oh no. Did I mention that AI is not gonna take my job? Not in my lifetime anyway. Don't write tests. Writing tests is doubting your coding abilities. It's a sign of weakness. Why aren't you confident in your skills? A real developer doesn't test their code. They just know it works. They push directly to main on Friday and happily go home. There is actually one funny thing about this meme. Writing your own tests for your own code is inferior to another person writing the tests for your code, just because you already know how it works. If you didn't think about edge cases in your code, there is a chance you're not going to think about these edge cases when you're writing your tests, but it's still better than nothing. So write your test. That was my first attempt at sharing memes with anybody else other than my friends, so I hope it went well. If you have an opinion about any of the memes, leave it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully a bit more educational than this one. Bye guys!